Over the past 2 decades, the defense partnership between the United States and India has evolved significantly, moving from a period of estrangement to one of deep engagement. This transformation has been marked by collaborative efforts such as the Defense Trade and Technology Initiative and Initiative for Critical and Emerging Technologies, aimed at fostering enduring cooperation in defense and technology. Post 2000, there has been a significant shift towards engagement between the US and India. Key milestones include next steps in strategic partnership. In 2004, the signing of the new framework for India-US defense relationship and the India-US civil nuclear deal. Established in 2012, DTTI laid the foundation for strengthening defense trade, co-production and technology cooperation between the two countries. The pace accelerated around 2015, regardless of political dissension on both sides. The period from 2000 to 2020 as Phase 1 was characterized by the Pentagon-led relationship with defense and security at its core.
Our national leaders also initiated an important endeavor in 2022 called the Initiative for Critical and Emergency Technology that was already mentioned. Important to note, I think, that the National Security Advisors co-chair iCET, so it's got very high oversight on this, elevating its importance in the partnership. To help support iCET and as part of the Defense Industrial Cooperation Roadmap, the Indian Ministry of Defense and U.S. Department of Defense have launched the India-U.S. Defense Acceleration Ecosystem. That's a mouthful, but the common name we use is INDUSX. INDUSX is designed to help us expand the strategic technology partnership and defense industrial cooperation between our governments, businesses, and academic institutions by serving as an innovation bridge. India's Innovation for Defense Excellence, IDEX team, partners with the U.S. Defense Innovation Unit, or DIU, to connect Indian and U.S. defense startups, to connect academic institutions and labs, to encourage capital flows and funding for defense innovation, and to sponsor joint prize challenges. INDUSX was announced during Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States this summer. But already, in a really short amount of time, IDEX and DIU have announced 2 joint challenges focused on undersea and maritime capabilities. So the companies that come forward to earn or win those joint challenges will get some amount of funding to start prototyping on those. This will move very rapidly. I think that we're going to be probably in the early December timeline of determining who the winners are. So this INDUSX effort between IDEX and DIU, connecting startups, will move at the pace of startups and try to get ahead of what are oftentimes latent bureaucratic systems.
The Indian Ministry of Defense and the U.S. Department of Defense have launched the India-U.S. Defense Acceleration Ecosystem in 2023. You have the initiative which builds on what the 2 NSAs talked about, Innovation Bridge, which looks at connecting U.S. and Indian defense startups to come together and work in terms of partnership in the critical and emerging technology initiatives that have been launched by the 2 countries. Now, innovation cooperation is a top priority for this bilateral relationship, and this can be seen through the joint statement which was released by Prime Minister Modi during his visit in June 2023 last year, when the 2 partners affirmed, and I quote, "Technology will play a defining role in deepening our partnership," and called for the US and India to foster an open, accessible, secure technology ecosystem based on mutual confidence. And what is interesting is that this partnership is not just limited to business or government to government. There is an academic component to it as well, with collaboration between universities of the 2 countries, where they're working together to exchange best practices in defense innovation and commercialization. And collaboration in this sector is not just limited to hardcore defense issues, but how these technologies can be further brought into the day-to-day lives of our people. The initiatives in these sectors cover AI, next generation telecommunications, space technologies, biotech, etc.
In the evolving landscape of modern warfare, the rapid advancement of technology reshapes the character of conflict. From artificial intelligence (AI) to smart munitions and edge computing, emerging technologies redefine the strategic landscape. Amidst Cold War 2.0 dynamics with China, the Indo-US partnership emerges as a cornerstone, epitomizing mutual dependence and shared democratic values. As conflicts like the Russian-Ukraine war unfold, the necessity for a joint approach towards critical and emerging technologies (CET) becomes apparent.
All of us are aware of the rapid pace of change of technology that we are experiencing on a literally a day-to-day or literally an hour-to-hour basis. The new app comes up and the story changes. This technology pace has been so rapid that it has also changed the classical perception of how character of war is. And that is where the whole story of these emerging technologies come. There are these great buzzwords which I can also rattle out, which all of you are aware, from AI to ML to smart munitions to IoT, and then you're looking at edge computing, cloud computing, then you come into the area of precision weapon systems. This whole gambit of buzzwords has led to a large amount of startup ecosystems that have come up, and that's how this whole niche, critical, and emerging technologies are the three words under which they've all been sort of sub-classified.
The core relationship of India and US, you have to look into the Indo-Pacific domain. It's a very critical domain which looks into a range of aggressive moves by China. The country has been very much at the forefront in the Indo-Pacific, making a lot of strides. I mean, Philippines is one case. We're looking at things on our border. And we see things on ground, but at the same time, things are also happening online. There are a range of companies that are tracking what's happening in the geostrategic space. The geoimagery that comes in at the LAC is an interesting space to actually watch. Purely because it's real time. We are seeing what's happening on the border real time. And as journalists sitting out of here in New Delhi, we actually have to verify a lot of facts. And the tech companies which are actually doing this real-time imagery sharing are becoming very critical to ensure that we are actually getting the real-time information about what's happening. At the same time, there could be non-state actors sharing information. The flip side of technology is you don't know who's online. The anonymity gives you the power, as well as the anonymity gives you the power to derail things. So it's an interesting domain where we are looking at technology cooperation. IndusX is another great leveler. It's a great place where two ecosystems of two countries are coming together, ensuring that there are investments in strategic tech, that dual-use technologies, which are being used both by India, United States, and countries like China and other countries I wouldn't like to name. So it's an interesting space where countries are using technology as a tool for their geopolitical ambitions.
Indo-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership with future contours of strategic alliance is actually the hallmark of the 21st century, epitomizing mutual dependence, meeting mutual aspirations. All this in the light of the ongoing Cold War 2.0 between US and China and the hegemonistic design of China in the Indo-Pacific. The newfound robust partnership is based on shared democratic values, common vision of the rule-based global order with a free and open Indo-Pacific. That is the vision, and convergence of mutual interests, which is equally important on bilateral, multilateral, and global issues. Let me say that a long-term Indo-US marathon has begun, just as the 100-year marathon of China began in 1949. I dare say this happens at a time when defense And security is of paramount importance globally. We are seeing what is happening in terms of war between Ukraine and Russia, and of course, Israel and Palestine. And therefore, the center of gravity of this partnership is contingent upon three things to my mind. One, defense preparedness, wherein we meet our gaps, mutual gaps. I mean, there are gaps in the Indo-Pacific where India needs to chip in as well. So we look at a shared vision there, which results in domination, deterrence, and dissuasion. We look at creating a common operating picture, a common intelligence sharing mechanism, so that the common operating picture goes into real-time situational awareness, which is again a shared mission requirement. This brings to the fore the iCET initiative on critical and emerging technologies, which actually becomes therefore the hub around which all this will be achieved. And I'd like to call this iCET, or rather rechristen it as integrated support in critical and emerging technologies. They're not really an initiative. It is an integration which has to happen.
We do not really move with short-term interests. We tried to show short-term interests in DTTI. I mean, I wanted everything, every technology, conceivable technology, I wanted it. And every conceivable trade, our friends in the US, they wanted it. They wanted privileged, non-competitive access to acquisitions. Both of us had grandiose, looking at it in hindsight, unrealistic expectations. They'll not last. It has already been mentioned. And we have to maintain trust. We have to cooperate in going ahead and in realizing. Let me give you just 5 points and finish it there. Give me just 2 minutes. That, you know, we have great manpower. We've already realized it. Talented human resources. But then Indian skills and the US compute power must combine so that the benefits of co-development and all the commercialization of technology that we achieve, they equally flow to us also in the long run. Today we are okay. We are getting skilled, we are getting jobs, we are getting money. But tomorrow we would like to share the IPRs. And tomorrow we would like to build our own capability. Gentlemen, otherwise we'll remain the largest importers of defense arms or the second largest importers, unless we collaborate to build capability between us. We should not remain contented to being lower tier vendors and lower tier suppliers. Now, what has happened as we've gone to iCET? This level of pushing has gone on to the NSAs. So they can push it. The scope has increased in the civil and military technology field. We had about 8 or 9 when we started off earlier in January last year. And in December, we just had the review at the deputy NSA's level. About 5 odd topics have more been added. It's there in the joint statements of September and June. You can have a look at them. So what has happened is 1 billion or 5-7 companies have already brought in, Micron, Lam Research, Applied Materials, Microchip Technologies, and Microtechnology also did their groundbreaking in Gujarat. You would have heard of that, and you would have also heard of this Advanced Micron Devices, and we've already spoken of Boeing opening up centers here. So we moved, but please remember, 2023 was a honeymoon for iCET. And extended, accelerated honeymoon. We had 2 back-to-back summits in June and September. Whether this momentum will stay, it depends on all you stakeholders who are sitting in this hall. You have to make it happen. That's only it will extend.
But I'm tempted to say that when he said that DTTI and iCET, DTTI did not produce the results which it was perhaps designed to be. Yes, he's right. Now, will iCET do it? iCET is a framework. It's not a deal. But the framework is all encompassing. The change what we are seeing, that it is a whole of nation approach like we talk about within our country. So from the US side also, it's a whole of nation approach. Talking with the students, academia, industry, defense, commerce, and you have all. So there is a possibility, and the way things are happening, he mentioned the innovation handshake. We spoke 5 months back, and innovation handshake in commerce has come up. So things are happening.
A lasting relationship of this nature, what you require is strategic underpinnings. And we have to create that. If we recall our meeting between our NSAs at Washington at the launch of iCET on 30th January, Jake Sullivan very clearly said that iCET is not about iCET alone. It's not about technology alone. It's a platform for bringing about our strategic convergence.
In India and the U.S. We need to be thinking about innovation that doesn't just promote defense, but helps to solve problems. And that's what iCET, the Initiative of Critical and Emerging Technology, is here to do. It's here to promote innovations in quantum technology, commercial space, artificial intelligence, green hydrogen, renewables, all of these things that are connected. They are also connected to our efforts in defense. All of this stuff has a symbiotic relationship. And so we need all of the talent here in India. We need all of the businesses that are working on related issues here in India and in the U.S. to come together as we strengthen defense, as we strengthen trade and education. It's not a binary relationship any longer. It's not something that just happens between our capitals. It's not something that just happens between New York City and Los Angeles and Mumbai and Delhi. As everyone in this room, and I met folks from Kerala, from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and elsewhere, everyone understands that the genius and power of India is in the diversity and power of its people. Just as the power of the United States is in every state and every region.